those things, and I feel like I'm pretty much cleared out. I like to go through a series of basic movements. A lot of people call them primal movements, foundational movements. You can call them whatever you want. But basically, I'm going to show you from the front, and we can maybe get a picture from the side. So what I like to know is, how well can I squat? How well can I get down into my hips and all those fun things? So basically, what I mean by that is having my stance is a little about shoulder width apart, okay? And I like to go down and see if I can get into a squat, okay? This is something everybody should be able to do, and be able to do it well. If you can't do it well and you're asking yourself to squat with a lot of weight, you're going to ask for trouble. So what I like to do is test myself. Another test that I like to do is bring my legs close together and get in a squat. This is actually really hard to do for most people, and I want to see how low I can go. So I like to get, down into a squat, and I've got some work to do. I've been sitting in a car, so I like to get into a squat, come back up. That is basically one of the hardest things to do, especially for men my age, okay? So once I'm able to do that, get into a tuck, squat, I know I'm not where I want to be, so that's something to note, okay? So I'm going to go back to my normal width, about shoulder width apart, maybe a little wider, because that's where people do a squat. All right, so what we're going to try to do is get down low, and then I'm going to get my elbows right inside my knees, okay? I should be able to touch the floor. I should be able to sit like this and feel pretty comfortable, okay? Ideally, and I'll just turn to the side, when I do this, when I squat, and it may show up, if I'm not all that mobile and I have one side tighter than the other, I can get a little bit of a hip tuck or posterior tilt as I squat. I mean, you'll see this with a lot of guys when they squat, they tuck under like this. So what we want to see is, can I get low and is my back straight? Okay? All right? Then, from there, we want to have our hands down by our side, kind of come down, get into a nice squat, come back up. Okay? From there, can we do this with our hands up here? Okay? Basically like a front squat. I like to just touch my clavicles a little bit. Come down, come back up. Down, come back up. Okay? Then, prison squat. Interlock my hands, chest tall, and I want ass to the grass and basically squat down, trying to stay with my arms interlocked. And actually, when I do this, I feel like I want to bring my elbows together, which is not what you want. You want to try to keep your hands interlocked. But believe it or not, this restriction is not necessarily coming from here, it's coming from my thoracic spine. So those are things I know that I need to do and to work on. And this is the point of all this, is to teach you what areas might be limiting your mobility, and it's going to limit your strength. So you need to kind of be noting this, so before you start loading up those bars with a lot of weight, just being able to do this is equally important. And actually, if you do enough of these, it's enough of a workout, okay? So, start with areas that are most successful, work within those, and then make it harder, okay? So, start with hands down. You can even kind of act like you're going to do a goblet squat, so I'll show you what I mean. Is I put my fists together, I kind of push my chin into my fists a little bit, pack my shoulders, squat down, and this should feel comfortable. Now, if that does not feel comfortable, you have no business putting a weight over your shoulders and squatting it. You have to start with either a sumo squat or a goblet squat. That's going to give you the most success and the biggest bang for your buck. I see people skip steps all the time, and all they do is hurt themselves. Some things to note when I'm squatting. A lot of times you'll have people that will, do this kind of thing when they squat, or they'll quad dominate. Also, what happens when they get into a squat, their heels will come up. Ideally, you want to be keeping the heels down, chest up. Those who are really restricting the thoracic spine, this is very difficult to do. So what I'm showing you is just fundamentals of squatting. Now, if you're having trouble monitoring this, there's a couple tricks that you can do, and we're going to go over that next, that Pavel uses and a lot of other people who are well versed in how to teach correct movement, okay? We need to have correct movement before we do an exercise. The key is to train movement, not muscles, okay? That's something that's really overlooked in our industry, and I want to correct that, all right? So next phase is going to be over at a wall, all right?